I don't know what the preacher said on Sunday when Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann were in church with their family, but that pastor worked a miracle.
I am speechless.
One of the most bitter and nasty divorces that we have seen play out.
This was like war. If you haven't seen it, it's War of the Roses, where they're living in the same house and they are literally at war with each other, making these horrible accusations against each other. I mean, it was brutal.
And it has now been called off. That's it, just like that.
Like that.
We just broke this story on the website, Brendan. We're in the commercial just going, how did this happen?
So Kim and Kroy went to court there in Georgia this morning, had their lawyers filed to call off this divorce. Sources close to them are telling me right now that the divorce, the original filing, never had anything to do with the fact that they fell out of love or anything. The sources aren't being clear exactly what it was, but I have a feeling it had to do with their finances. As we know, they've been struggling. They've been facing several lawsuits over the last couple of months. So I think that right now they're trying to figure all of that out. But from what I was told from the people that I've spoken to is that they never fell out of love, and they're now putting on a united front, and they're mainly doing it for the sake of their children, the four kids they have.
And I hear you to some extent here. But at the same time, if they're having financial problems and they're still in love, one was calling the other a drug addict, the other was saying you're an unfit parent.
No, because they're... I mean, once the divorce was filed, then all that mudslinging started.
Well, I know, but when the
right. So why are you slinging mud like that if you're
in love?
But you have to think that maybe, they're both mad. We know that Kim was racing to beat Kroy to the filing when we initially broke the story. When you're mad at someone or you're going through a hard time, you sometimes say things that you don't necessarily mean in the long run.
How do you... I'm really serious about this. When you know someone that you're with will make allegations like that about you publicly,
how do you go back?
How do you go back? I don't understand that.
Well, I mean, if it was me, I'd be begging for a public apology, which who knows if we'll get that. I mean, I don't know. I think that they've had problems for years up and down. That's always kind of been the rumor, but they seem to come around. So the divorce was definitely shocking to people when they filed, but I do believe that they never fell out of love.
Wow. Would never, ever have seen this coming.
I don't know how you go back. I mean, I'm really serious. I do not know, given the level of...
You go back and you say...
Anger.
I said some awful things. You said some awful things. I said some awful things. We didn't really mean it. We were angry about the money. I don't know how that conversation goes, but you've got to have some sort of conversation like that. You can't pretend like those things weren't said and said publicly.
And then you got to wonder, when we get in the next argument, are you going to trash me publicly again? Because this was brutal. I mean, when we were talking about this...
Well, they just won't ever have an argument again, that's all.
This could have also been an ultimatum from their children. The kids could have said, hey, listen, these headlines and all of this media circus about you guys and the problems that you're going through are upsetting us. I mean, these are young kids. One of them's a minor children.
That would have an impact on you.
No, but you're right, Brendan. But then what you say is, fine, we'll have a civilized divorce. No, I'm actually serious. Do you want to be around two parents under the same roof where they hate each other?
But if that, for both of them, for Kim and Kroy, if they hear their kids say that, then there's a moment they look at each other and go like, what are we doing? We can't do this to the kids, right?
But then you get divorced civilly.
I think it had something to do, maybe not necessarily the young kids, but maybe their older kids, Brielle and Ariana, that might have said, hey, listen, you've got 4 younger kids, they're minors, what's going on is kind of messy, the stuff you guys are accusing each other of is messy, can you figure this out? And
no, somebody got in their ear and...
All I can say is, look, they've called off the divorce, to be continued.
Kayla Rivera, Atlanta, Georgia. While we do know that miracles do happen, I think in regards to this situation, it is more about the finances. I think that maybe when they sat down, they realized it was going to be a lot more expensive to start dividing things, splitting things, especially if they're having financial trouble. So maybe they thought that, hey, this might be more beneficial and cheaper if we just kind of say we're not going to get a divorce. I do think that they love each other, but like you guys mentioned, a lot of hate was spewed on both ends. So I think they're just putting a united front to kind of, figure out the financial aspect of it.
Cheaper to keep her and him.
I am so much more cynical than you guys, but whatever.
It's about money. It's definitely centered around money.